Last year here at Shubenacadie in the National Championship races, in the Amateur Superbike final, we had one of the most torrential, unbelievable rainstorms that I've ever witnessed. Unbelievable conditions. I fully expected the race would have been red flagged and stopped. They ran it, and the winner of that race was Paul Whitehead. He's with us right now. Paul, you'll remember that day very well.
Yeah, it was. That was the worst conditions I've ever raced in, Frank. It was all along the back straight, everything. You know, the bike would aquaplane. There was a lot of water building up in some of the corners. I fully expected to see a Coast Guard boat in turn one at one point, you know. But I knew that what we had to do. I knew they were going to flag that race, so I tried to get ahead of Jody there and keep ahead of him every time we crossed the finish line. And we were lucky; it paid off. You know, it's one of those things. And luckily, Caleb got on the podium too. So it was great fun. I knew I had something for them in the wet. In the dry, they were just that little bit quicker, you know. So it was nice, you know. At 46 to win that one, it was. If you're going to win one, it was one of the good ones to win. So,
yeah. Well, before coming on camera, you asked me the question. I'm going to throw it out to our viewers, as a matter of fact. The question you asked me was I perhaps the oldest person to win an amateur national championship race? And the question stands at 46 years of age, Bob?
Yeah, it was 46, yeah. So 47 this year, it was 46, 46. So I don't know, maybe that's another little, you know, something to tick on the box. That, I know it took a week for my leathers to dry out. I know that. Same as everybody else, you know. But it was good times, you know. It's great. That was the hardest time around Shuby I've ever rode. Grew up in England, you know, Northern England. It started raining when I was 2 and it quit raining when I was 19, you know.
I was going to say you're quite used to running in wet conditions, but those were just torrential.
They were torrential. Yeah. I don't know. I could count a million times how many lost the front. You know, just go. And everybody was the same. You know, we all had the same thing to deal with. Track knowledge certainly helped me there because I was wherever the water was. I was just, and it wasn't even regular lines. I would just go right to the outside of the corner, and that's where a lot of the grip was. You know?
Feel like you know this the surface here, Paul, intimately? You know where every bump is?
I don't know it as well as such as Ron Monroe and stuff, but you certainly feel like, you know, after 4 years now of going around this track, pretty much know where all the bumps are. Although they seem to grow a couple of bumps every year. Turn one is almost like a staircase now, you know, if you get it in the wrong place.
Right, yeah, notice that in practice.
You know, and I'm watching the guys out on Superbike and, you know, watching Austin go around. I mean, and they look like they're not seeing the bumps, you know, and it's just incredible to watch those guys.
Well, you mentioned winning last year here, and you mentioned the fact that you beat Jody Green. Jody, of course, went on to become the amateur national championship, so that puts you in very good company.
Yeah, I know.
Do you have intentions, albeit not for the rain, do you have intentions of repeating that performance this year, Paul?
No, there's no way I can keep up with these guys, you know. There really isn't. I mean, realistically not, you know. I'm hoping to get, I also usually get a good start, certainly at our regional rounds. I'm hoping just to be able to keep up there and, you know, I mean, I'm looking at the times, I know I'm going to be towards the back of the pack, but, you know, you never know what happens, and it's just nice to be out there in the big show, you know, and put on a show for my sponsors, you know.
Let's talk about those guys for a minute.
Well, you know, I live in a small town in Cape Breton, you know, Badek. And it's a beautiful little town, and in England when I raced when I was younger, I couldn't get sponsorship, you know, to save my life, but now, you know, everybody that comes through, I worked at a little machine shop, anybody come through the door, I just ask them, you know, because they can only say no, and pretty much everybody I ask put money up, you know, even the local Tom's Pizza guy, fantastic guy, Needs Convenience, the girl that runs Needs Convenience there, she actually asked me, she said, why aren't we on your bike? I said, well, I never thought, so.
Wait till those folks get to see you on television.
I know, so that's great, you know, because I mean, they've all, and not only the businesses, you know, local people have just slipped me a few dollars here and there, and we had a fundraiser there about 2 months ago, because I got another young lad on the team who's doing really well in the amateur, you know, we're starting to pick up the pace, and I think we made $2,200, you know, it's unbelievable, it's really, you know, it kind of just makes you feel great about what, and they all ask, you walk down the street, how's the racing going? Were you racing last weekend? How are you getting on, you know? So.
This is a good news item for the young ones, you know, we see these young kids that you guys are bringing up, you guys have a healthy crop of talent that grows around this place, and these kids have got a long career ahead of them if they look after themselves.
Exactly, and this is what I've been trying to do this for the past 3 years, is trying everybody that I see in and around my village, a young kid that's riding a, you know, like a leader bike or a 600, they don't really know what they're doing, and I keep pushing and trying to get the parents to let them come with me to the track, you know, and let's get some sense put into them, you know, so they understand the bike. And I think it tends to, you get on the racetrack, it slows them down on the road because they start to understand how difficult it can be to put a bike around, you know, properly around a racetrack. You know the lines, you feel, obviously on a road, they think they're going fast, but they're doing it in all the wrong places, and all these dangers are coming up, and you hear about it all the time, kids that are getting injured or killed, and it's just, let's get them on the racetrack. I know it's difficult.
Pulled over and ticketed and whatever.
Yeah,
that's
you know.
expensive. Racing isn't all that expensive when you compare
No,
it
when
that
you
way.
look at that, if they get done for stunting or something like that,
Yeah.
you know, and then they go try and reinsure themselves, and well, the insurance wants $4,000. That a season of racing looks very cheap compared to that, you know, and they don't have to be on, you know, a brand new 600 or 1,000. You know, there's lots of classes they can go in. You know, on a bike they could pay $600 or $700 for,
Right.
and have a big grin on their face when they come off the track.
Yeah, that's the key thing.
Yeah.